Man, do you remember during back, Gamergate times, culture war times, where the warriors of the free speech, Donald Trump kind of came out as I'm the guy who'll say anything, I'll offend anyone. I'm just, I'm quick from the hip. But then anytime somebody would say something that really got under Donald Trump's skin, he was really quick with the lawsuits. I mean, the image of like the triggered liberal that one would think from the Gamergate age that has evolved to today. What was it? Hot Red was her name, like the dyed red hair and like the angry face. This like stereotypical image of the triggered liberal suing everybody for nonsense, for offending them, and getting offended at everything. Donald Trump fills that profile not just from his political time in office, but from before his political time in office. Do people not remember when he sued Bill Maher for a joke? I mean, he was somebody who would throw lawsuits around pretty pretty freely, and this isn't something he got from nowhere. I mean, this is something that he learned directly under the tutelage of people like Roy Cohn. I mean, he is somebody who knows how to go out there if somebody pisses him off and just mess with them based upon nothing more than their word. And when he got into office, what did he do? He went after the broadcasting rights of organizations that didn't agree with him, news organizations that broadcasted things that he didn't like. He sued multiple news outlets, trying to get settlements out of court, including defamation cases that have no legitimacy to them, including a defamation case against the New York Times over his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. That now, due to the Epstein files getting out, which he tried to block, shows that he did send a birthday letter to Jeffrey Epstein, and that entire lawsuit is just completely hogwash. Or what happened with Jimmy Kimmel and the type of officials under him that were openly talking like mob bosses towards Jimmy Kimmel. He has this long record of going after people for their speech and then saying it was not speech. One of the more recent examples, though, had to do with Mark Kelly and a bunch of our Democratic colleagues coming out and recording a video where they essentially said to U.S. service members, don't follow illegal orders. Now, one could say, what illegal order do you mean? But that is, of course, up into the interpretation of the individual soldier. Now, Mark Kelly, when he's asked about this, he gives the example of, hey, Donald Trump, he said to go after the women and children on the campaign trail, not just the terrorists, but the women and children as well. And that is illegal. And I want a soldier to not follow illegal orders. And technically, a soldier does have the ability to not follow legal orders. You're supposed to follow orders, but if you really are willing to go to court over it, go before like a military tribunal and say, I am 100% positive this is against our code of conduct. I'm 100% positive this was against the interest of my country, but not just against the interests of my country, but against the laws and that dictate. If you can do that and you can win, congratulations. Fantastic. That could be what he's saying. And it is Trump's job to prove that he had the intent of expressing otherwise. That's going to be very difficult before the court of law. We have very strong free speech protections in the country. And the fact that he went after Mark Kelly, and not just in a, hey, we're going to sue you for defamation. The way they went after him was saying, we're going to go after your rank from being a veteran that did put his life at risk while in service, and we're going to go after your pension. And if you could establish the standard that you can go after a veteran's rank and pension when they criticize the government or tell veterans not to follow illegal orders, well, then what standards does that establish? What standard does that establish? And it's really funny to me to hear the loop around arguments of, well, at the end of the day, Mark Kelly had also said other things were illegal. And so when he says don't follow legal orders, did they just mean the order of the president? Somebody could interpret it that way. What did stop the steal mean, right? Did stop the steal just mean we're going to go out there and clap? Or did stop the steal mean doing something to stop the steal? We can sit here and play interpretation all day. At the end of the day, we have very, very loose free speech protections in this country. And Mark Kelly has pointed clearly to what he could have meant, which is actual illegal orders that the president did talk about wanting to give while on the campaign trail. So it just didn't have anywhere to move forward. It just looked like the presidency picking a fight with a veteran astronaut. Out of all the veterans in the Democratic Party, gotta say, probably the worst image. I mean, veteran astronaut sounds like the type of thing like a child draws up. Like, veteran astronaut senator is the type of thing a child draws up in the coloring book. Like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a monster truck astronaut princess. Like, okay, you can do that. I'm sure you can do it. He did that. Like, I mean, I don't know how much you guys respect astronauts or veterans, whatever, but he like did the job combination role that would make mom very proud. And it's not going to go good for the Republican Party trying to go after him on this level. He doesn't come off as a very radical guy. He's not a guy that's very easy to demonize, to be quite frank. Like I could understand like AOC or Ilhan Omar through a lack of understanding them through typical tropes. It might be easier due to the way that they talk in their cadence, maybe. But Mark Kelly is quite frankly a pretty bland man, despite all of the roles attached to him. And it kind of reminds me a bit of how watching Pam Bondi speak, the thing that really pissed her off during that meeting was Jerry Nadler. Jerry Nadler, and I don't think it was Jerry Nadler's tone. I don't think it was that Jerry Nadler threw out something that was particularly new. I think it was just the timing and the moment and being at the right place at the right time to just get her angry is what elicited the response. And I think that's maybe similar in this case, where Mark Kelly was the one where Donald Trump thought he had a purview to go after him. You couldn't throw defamation suits at all of the other people, but maybe you could go after the military record and disgrace this man who at one point was on a short list to be Kamala Harris's VP pick. This is somebody that when people talk about 2028 frontrunners, this is somebody that people consider. And when you were to, if you were to look at it from like a, let's say a stereotypical lens, again, veteran astronaut, senator, it seems very campaignable. It seems very campaignable, and that's why Kamala Harris had him on her short list. Not to mention, he is from what is typically considered a swing state. Either way, it seems that the judge has taken a look at this case and thrown it out completely. And not only did they throw it out, they gave some testimony, some commentary with their ruling that was quite aggressive, going as far as to say that the Pentagon trampled on the senator's rights. A federal judge on Thursday ruled that the Trump administration trampled on Senator Mark Kelly's First Amendment rights, blocking Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's efforts to punish the Arizona senator, a retired naval officer. This court has all it needs to conclude that defendants have trampled on Senator Kelly's First Amendment freedoms and threatened the constitutional liberties of millions of military retirees. U.S. District Judge Richard Leon wrote. Now, mind you, Leon Richard, this man is a George W. Bush appointee. Okay, so woke Obama judge, a Biden disaster, whatever image you would imagine that the admin would want to throw at this, kind of harder to imagine under a George Bush appointee. After all, as Bob Dylan famously said, of course, a nice musical reference, you don't need a weatherman to know which way the wind blows. To say the least, our retired veterans deserve more respect from their government, and our Constitution demands they receive it. Rather than trying to shrink the First Amendment liberties of retired service members, Secretary Hegseth and his fellow defendants might reflect and be grateful for the wisdom and expertise that retired service members have brought to public discussions and debate on military matters in our nation over the past 250 years. If so, they will more fully appreciate why the Founding Fathers made free speech the First Amendment in the Bill of Rights. Hopefully, this injunction will in some small way help bring about a course correction in the Defense Department's approach to these issues. The Defense Department did not immediately respond to a request for comment. So that is as scathing as a commentary as you can get. Trampled is very aggressive language. It wasn't like, we understand what they're trying to say about how he wore a uniform when he said X, Y, because he didn't wear a uniform. Oh, well, we understand what you're trying to say because at that point he was working for. No, he was a senator. He's duly elected representative of his district. How can he, as a duly elected representative of his district, a United States senator, a retired service member, criticize the administration if the administration can hold his rank and pension fund over his head for any type of insult thrown the administration's way, or for giving his opinion on military affairs, who you would think, in comparison to other senators and other Congress people, somebody who's a veteran would have more of a right to speak and more of reason to speak on issues concerning service members, active duty and retired. So I mean, this getting thrown out is not surprising to me. The scathing language is surprising to me because there's quite a bit here. They really took he took his time to write out those paragraphs and choose his words carefully. To I mean, he throwing in Bob Dylan, like he's having fun with it. He's doing trick shots off of his decision to say get out of here. Right now, Pete Hegseth responded to this. There wasn't an official Defense Department response. Oh, sorry, Department of War, even though that was never passed by Congress. So before Congress, it is still the Department of Defense, but before the executive branch, it's the Department of War. Okay. Choose your name, choose your title. I swear you won't get canceled for dead naming. You'll be fine. Here is what Pete Hegseth had to say immediately after. This will immediately be appealed. Sedition is sedition, Captain. Sedition is sedition. See, when you look at the cases of Peretti, of Alex Peretti's shooting, they came out and they said, and when I say they, I do want to make sure that I have a wide aperture here because they includes Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. It includes top Trump advisor Stephen Miller. It includes JD Vance, who was boosting the words of Stephen Miller and others. It was quote tweeting it, reposting it and putting it out there. It goes all the way to Greg Bovino, the person who was overseeing the Operation Metro Surge from Customs and Border Patrol, who said, this is our city. They were going out there saying that he was an assassin, that he was, fully loaded and it, this was terrorism, domestic terrorism. And he threw out every single accusation you could to make this guy look like he was Osama bin Laden, who had landed to ground zero in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And they went out there and they made those definitions. They threw out those words. It was really, really aggressive. And then they backed up. And then they redefined how they were talking about it. And then it went to, well, he should have complied later. They tried to reel it in and say, well, it could have looked like he was going for his gun. He should have complied and listened to officers' orders. From this is Osama bin Laden to this is a man who, while getting beaten in the head with a pepper spray can, should have listened to officers' orders more acutely. That was quite a de-escalation. Quite a de-escalation. In this case, after a judge's decision and after a scathing judge's decision that I'm sure is going to get much media attention. I mean, the word trampled on the rights of veterans. That type of phraseology is going to be used by three-letter news agencies, bloggers, anybody that can create a headline. They want to use that headline. And then you see that and you say, you know what? Round two. Not only are we going for round two, we're not going to readjust our language for round two. We're going to continue to say, you're sedition. You're engaging in sedition. Mark Kelly is engaging in sedition by saying, don't follow illegal orders. Don't follow illegal orders. I mean, if they can go out there and show clearly and directly what orders he was saying that were legal, that he was telling people to not follow, then you would have had a clearer case. Then you would have had something for the judge to actually review when making a decision. They didn't have that. They did not have that. You did not have that. Nobody had that because it did not exist. And therefore, the case did not move forward. It got thrown out. And under appeal, it will get thrown out again. So it just means kicking this can down the road. It means wasting government time and resources and lawyers payments. We're paying people to do this, by the way. Like when you talk about like tax, we pay your salary. This is what our money's going towards. This type of stuff. So congratulations, everybody. We have the pencil pushers beefing out Twitter disputes through taxpayer dollars, through our judiciary. Wow, man. I'm very proud of my country. RFK Jr. snorted coke off the toilet at home after one of his daughters used the toilet. Wait. I did. Wait.